What's up, guys? So this is part two of the Matt Hammer segment. Yesterday, it was so long, I cut it up into two shows. Yesterday was the 250s. Today, we talk about 450s. We talk about how dangerous flagging is in both the professional ranks and at Loretta Lynn's. MX Sports owes these riders more, but we get into that. We talk a little bit about Hunter Lawrence and his Honda, and how this Honda might be unpredictable and it might be causing some serious crashes. All that and more. Head over to Coach Rob Podcast. Coach and Dan do a show on vet racing. It's really good. There is a link in the description that will send you there. Epic Garage Designs, the coolest stuff for your garage. Check them out. There's a July special, $27.50 for two of the tall cabinets shipped to you. EpicGarageDesigns.com. Are you feeling patriotic? Hit up Ride Strapped. They are too. Get your patriotic goggles, get your shirts, get your industry outsider, whatever you want. Head over to ridestrap.com. And if you're shipping anything, use Precision Transport. This is a trucking company you can trust, you can count on. Hit up pretransport.com. And without further ado, let's get into this thing.
You need people like me so you can point your fucking fingers and say, that's the bad guy.
So Matt Hammer, you're back, dude. It's hammer time. How are you?
Good. How are you doing, Chris?
Okay, so moving on to the 450s, we're talking about this secrecy thing. Why on earth is Star Yamaha not sharing what the escalator clause is for Justin Cooper? Because, you know, clearly it's out there that he needs a certain amount of podiums and he automatically gets his contract for next year. Why wouldn't they tell us that?
That's interesting too. I don't know. It's weird how they keep a lot of the things behind the scenes, but like you don't even know the numbers till later on. Like you won't even hear what guys are making until later on if they say it on a podcast way later past their retired. It's just like the way the sport is. And unfortunately, there's not a lot of transparency. A lot of things are behind the scenes, and I think it would be hard for them to let Cooper go. I think he's going to stay there. I mean, we heard rumors of him potentially going to Husky at one point, but I don't know. I see him staying where he is and riding it out because how much longer does Eli have? How much longer does Webb have? I mean, Eli's going to go obviously before Webb, but there's going to be room on that team, and he has one of the best bikes being on that star bike. So it would be tough sell for me to hop to something else unless he gets a really crazy deal.
Yeah, I would like to see him stay. He's comfortable there. He's been there his whole career. I think that's the move for him is to stay there. But I just wish they would tell us because I don't need to know the numbers. I understand about telling how much people make. I don't want to tell people like that's just not something you typically ask. I understand in some sports they report it, but just tell us whether there is a contract or not. That I can understand. The secrecy for the sake of secrecy just annoys the crap out of me. Yeah. Sexton looked awesome. Now that Jet's out, I'm convinced he knows he doesn't have to worry about these other guys. He knows coming towards that end of the moto, he's going to eat up Hunter. He's going to eat up Plessinger. He's going to eat up Cooper. And he's not pushing to the level to make mistakes. What did you see out there?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think when Jet's out there, he has to ride at his limit. And when you ride at your limit, you can only ride there for so long without making a mistake or crashing. And I think with having Hunter out there now, he knows he doesn't have to ride at his limit that whole time. He might ride at it to catch him or to make that pass, and then he brings it just under and, rides it in. I think he has that mental edge now on Hunter after you beat a guy multiple times and all right, I'm going to catch this guy. I've been doing it. Now it's all in Chase's court, this whole championship, even though obviously Hunter's keeping himself in it. I think it's going to take something big on Chase's end to lose this. Hunter's going to have to step up, and going into Washougal, this could be the round where Hunter steps up because it's a smooth track. It's very hard to pass there. It's, riders complain a long time. It's hard pack. I think Hunter really excels on those hard pack tracks. And he's going to get the start. We already know he's been hole shotting pretty much every race. So we know that Chase is going to have to catch him and then get through him. And we know, there's going to be some good guys in the mix too, like Cooper. I see him getting a good start there as well. Chase definitely has this from my point of view, but I also think if Hunter can change and step it up and get a win, just get a win and beat him, that is what he's going to need because he hasn't got a win on paper yet this whole season, right? Like he hasn't got one win.
Yeah,
that's huge.
He got two moto wins though, or one?
I think he has one, but he has no overalls. That's nothing. Crazy. It's just 2, 2, 2, 3. He has a 4, like no wins. And that mentally is taxing, knowing everyone's winning. Like your brother won a bunch, now Chase has won a bunch, but you are, you were the points leader and then you lost the points lead. Now you're right there and he has to just win. It's pretty simple.
Yeah, and I'm sure he's not looking at this, but looking at this from afar, you got Sexton, who is a few months younger than Hunter, so he's not going to age out. And then you've got Jet, and then you got Deegan on the horizon. I mean, I don't think he's ever going to win a 450 title. This is his one shot. If Hunter cannot get this one, I'm hard pressed to see him ever win a title. He might just be a perennial podium guy.
Yeah, I see that. I was always hard on Hunter. I felt like Jet always took the spotlight from him and was always, better and had that edge on him his whole career. But I do give him a lot of credit for stepping up in this past year, especially from the outdoor rounds, leading. He's been up front, he's shown speed. But I do think after that crash at Redbud, I think his mindset changed a little bit. Like he hit the ground pretty hard. Like we don't know exactly what happened there. We don't know if he was concussed at all. He was like, "Oh, I was seeing stars a little bit." Like remember he said that at one point. I don't know if it was on the podium, but we don't know if there's any injuries lingering there. We don't know if there's any bit of being gun shy because after you have a hard hit like that, it takes a little bit to rebound and to come back and be comfortable at that speed because now you're like, all right, what's my bike going to do at that speed? How's it going to handle that bump? Like I see Chase's bike working a lot better than Hunter's bike right now. The Honda looks very twitchy to me. It looks like it's kicking around and stepping out on Hunter, and Chase's bike looks a lot more balanced and flat. And I'm not, saying it's just off the frame of like, oh, KTM steel frame compared to aluminum. I'm not saying it's just that. I just think they've really got a good setting there for Chase, and he's very happy with his bike. And I think Hunter may still be searching and dealing with a little bit of that being gun shy from that last hard crash at Redbud.
Well, and that's the thing about Honda. Ever since, I mean, even Roxon, when he was there, from that time, that has been the MO on the Honda bike. Really, really good. But then you're on your head before you know what happened. Chase said it. Jet, I mean, when Jet came in and I don't know, the guy's he's like an alien. So I don't even know that you can use him. Like he's out of the pool when it comes to this. But for somewhat human people, it's scary. It's fast, but you're right. It does put people on their head and that does shake the confidence. And I think you're spot on there.
Yeah, my dad and I have a saying for the Honda, Chris. We say it's called the Honda Buck. It always kicks people nosedive. Like it started with Ken Roxon and then Tim Geiser, and you just keep going and going. You see so many guys just nosedive or just go over. It happened a ton of times to Chase, but that's just how that frame is. Unfortunately, they made improvements and revisions to it, but that's a bike that you really want to get a steering stabilizer on, and that's a bike that you really want to have set up for stability because it's already a very sharp turning bike.
Now, Jason Anderson looked really good at Millville. He was the fastest qualifier.
He was ripping.
And he had that crazy incident. And now I've been extremely hard on flaggers, not necessarily the flaggers, the whole process of how they bring them in. There was a flag out. I mean, it wasn't the worst situation I've ever seen. It was a blind section, but the flagger didn't clearly know what to do. He kind of almost steered Anderson into him. What did you think of the whole situation? And as a racer, do you feel comfortable with the flagging situation?
No, I don't feel comfortable with it. They really need to up their game with the flagging. And this could have been the end of Anderson's season. Last week could have been the end of Deegan's season. They both went down. I mean, we saw Deegan's crash. I think it was even harder, but Jason, that was a hard crash as well. And he's having the best round. He got his fast time. He was ripping. And coming around a turn like that blind step down and then nailing that guy, it was just unnecessary. That shouldn't have happened. The flagger should have went out a little bit more, tried to protect the downed rider because just being a flagger, he's off the track to the side. Maybe he was told to stand there. I don't know. I don't know all the behind the scenes. But when you see after Jason goes down, the medical flag comes out on the inside and then protects them. But like, why wasn't that out before? Like, why wasn't that flag out at that particular time? Instead of the yellow flag, they should have the medical flag, which really puts caution. Because I'm out there and I see the yellow flag, Chris. I'm like, all right, we're still allowed to jump on the yellow flag. We're still allowed to pass on the yellow flag. But then if the red cross comes out, now I have to roll. Now I have to be more cautious. Now I'm thinking there's something more serious going on here. So let me take more precautions. But when he came down that hill, Anderson just, came down, sent it. It's like, oh man, this bike's here. And then that's it.
Yeah, and Anderson was the second bike to come through because I don't know who's 62. Was that Moran's or was it one of those guys came through ahead of them? I'm like, oh my gosh, it almost looked like that press day incident with Marchbanks where they just started stacking them up.
That was
but
terrible.
the issue I have with it is okay, so how much does Kawasaki have tied up in Jason Anderson? How much does Yamaha have tied up in Deegan? Now these
Mm.
guys go out. How much money is lost? They complain about the flaggers. Oh, it's too expensive to have a regular crew. It's too expensive to put lights. There's so many different options, but it comes down to money. But yet they're asking the partners of the series, the teams, to risk their investment. But yet MX Sports is just offering free lunch. Like, come on.
You don't got to get me started with how it is with MX Sports. So it's just like, everything. We're paying obviously a ton of money just to be there. And it's like they could at least do that for safety precautions, especially to protect their superstars, their A tier riders. Like they're losing people not showing up to the event if these guys are hurt. Like what if Deegan got hurt and that ended the championship? A lot of people would be so mad. Like what if it just went the other way right there? It would have been an outrage. Like we have to get support. We have to get a team of flaggers who are trained, who are specialized. Instead of having them this spread apart, we need this many guys. Like how many flaggers were even there, right, at the event? Maybe they need to add a quarter of the amount or double the amount in between sections because clearly one flagger in that turn wasn't enough on that blind downhill. And then at Redbud, that's a blind tabletop. When you come around that turn, you can't see the other side until you're in the air and it's too late.
Well, and you're trying to tell me in this day and age of electronics, you can't get a little remote control light and put on there so that as soon as there's a guy down, the guy can hit maybe a red or a yellow light. It's yellow, to get, to go. But if it's a red, there's something dangerous. So you will see it when you come around and you see red lights on both sides. You don't have to look for a flagger that you might mistake as a towel waving team member. Like it will really let you know. And I just don't understand why they cannot do this. I mean, MX Sports is heading off to Loretta Lynn's, and they had an advertisement last week for flaggers. I'm like, seriously? So you're going to give me 2 weeks to prepare a flagger for the biggest amateur race of the year where these kids go out there, risk their lives, spend all their money, and then you're literally just hiring flaggers 2 weeks out? Like, come on. Like people and I'm not saying, they say, oh, we'll brief them. What can you really learn in a writer's meeting style briefing that you're going to protect people's lives? It's stupid.
It is. I mean, kids invest their lives for that race too. Like I've been to Loretta Lynn's twice, and just the sacrifice it takes for these kids to get down there, like living at a facility months prior, spending thousands of dollars on your bikes, on the training, on the parts, on the fuel, on the preparation, like just to get there is a feat in itself. And then not having proper flaggers who are professionally trained. What if your kid goes down and then this guy's not waving the flag right and then someone lands on him? Very similar to what we've seen these past 2 rounds. Like that could be a serious injury. Thankfully it hasn't amounted to that yet, but what if it was? Like I see injuries, like I said, all the time in the fire department. Like I'm always going on medical calls. I'm always seeing different types of injuries in motor vehicle accidents, on people who have difficulty breathing, on people that faint or are unconscious. Like, we really need to protect these riders, and adding more to the budget there. I like the idea with the extra lights. I like the idea with training them more. And the lights thing is easy. They do that in Supercross. Like they add these lights on and they've hit the button and then they're flashing red, so they're aware. That could be something that could be more affordable, I think, than even bringing in the flaggers. But with the amount of revenue that they're getting just from us alone, like just from us paying, like we're the entertainers and we're paying to be a part of the event. So,
Yeah, and if anyone wants to know about the money, you can go back and watch my other shows. These guys are making plenty of money to share on safety features. To act like they're broke is ridiculous and embarrassing to the sport. And people ask why the sport won't grow, because they're strangling it and they're not investing in the product. The product is the racers, and it's disgusting to me that they don't. But we'll move off of that. We'll move to a good story. Christian Craig, man, I am so excited to see Christian Craig after what he's been through with the elbow injury, the hip injury. He's older. He went to the Des Nations and just got demolished. And so many people were so hard on him after that. He didn't quit. The heart he showed to keep fighting and go out there with his ego and get the 10th, 12th, 13th and build up to where now he's finding his speed again. Damn, that's a good story.
It is. It's good to see Christian out front, especially after all the hardships that he's been going through, the injuries, the elbow, the pain, the surgeries. Like ever since that Supercross title, it's just been nothing but downhill since he got on Husqvarna. I hate to say it, but he hasn't had that same breakout speed or that same performance that we expected of him once he'd won that Husky. We were like, can he carry that speed over? And people were doubting him. They were like, we don't see it. We don't see the same whoop speed. We don't see the same confidence in him. And it's good to see him coming back to life, because he does rip outdoors. Like we've seen in the past, like he could throw down some heaters and some fast lap times and can run up front. Back in the day, he did that a lot in 450 class when he stepped up. So it's good to see him coming back to form. But I also wonder too, Chris, like you know the saying where when you're at the end of your contract, things change a lot. Like he has a family, he's married, he has a bunch of kids. Like he has that I have to perform or like I have to make this money and pay my bills and everything else. If I don't perform right now, what's going to happen? What am I going to be doing? Right? Like that's a bigger question, right? Because this is his full-time income. It's not like he works a second job from that. I know.
I think they might have family money, but there's definitely something to, nobody wants to have to rely on family money. Nobody wants to go to their father-in-law and say, "Hey, I lost my job racing. Can you pay me, give me some money?" So yeah, you're probably right, but I don't know. With Christian Craig, I don't think that's like a motivate, like it might be a motivation, but I think he just genuinely loves racing and he wants to keep his career going, whether it be for a contract or not. And I know that if he doesn't get a contract, I don't think he's going to go out and spend his own money to go racing.
Yeah, but he's not the only one though. I'm saying like there's a
Oh yeah.
lot of riders that are when they're towards the end of their contract, you see their results spike up. It's a motivator because like I have to perform, it's do or die. They either will get hurt or get some of the best results that we see. Um, but yeah, do you know Christian personally? Like have you like talked
Um,
to him or spent any time with him?
I wouldn't say we're friends, but yeah, I've been friendly with Christian Craig and I've seen him around.
Okay.
And he used when he was a kid, he rode in outside of Vegas where I was at. And so yeah, I kind of know him. I wouldn't say we're friends or anything, but yeah, I do. He's a good guy, man. And a lot of people in this industry are not good guys. I
Mhm.
think Christian has overcome a ton. I don't know if you know much about his backstory with his
I
father.
I don't know the backstory. I know his backstory where he broke his actual back, and that was
Yes.
crazy to come back from, like the injury, seeing that because I've had a back injury before and broke my back at one point with racing. So like seeing him come through with his surgeries was incredible.
Yeah, his dad had some, I mean, he was a great racer himself, but he had some addiction issues. And if you grow up around that, it can be hard. But Christian has overcome that. He's overcome the back injury to become just a genuinely good human being and a hell of a racer, man. I thought when he got on the 450, I actually picked him to get some podiums, and I said he could even win that first year. Boy, was I wrong. But that's the thoughts I had of him. But I've seen him do things on a bike that are just, I mean, sometimes the things he does on a bike, it's like watching a Picasso. He's so,
Talented.
it's just good.
Yeah, he has that like that talent where he just does things like the Josh Hansen vibe. Like
Mhm.
he does things on a bike. Like, wow, that was beautiful. That was pretty. It almost looks like he's not trying, but he is. And I think when we look at the Supercross results and go back a little bit, it seems mental to me. Like I think he has a lot of the speed, but mentally sometimes he's not putting it together or doubting himself to where he's not getting those results. But he has the talent.
Yeah, when he has the confidence, it's scary. And we've seen what he can do with the confidence. Okay. All right, brother. We're going to wrap this up. But I thank you so much. So let's talk a little bit about you first. Did you get into Unadilla?
Yeah, I probably won't find out till like Tuesday or Wednesday, like 2 days before the event or 3 days, because they didn't tell me before Southwick until like Tuesday afternoon, and then I have to show up like Friday. So I won't even know till then, like the week of, like that late.
Okay. For anyone that doesn't know, Matt Hammer races nationals. He does a couple of years, a fireman. If you didn't watch the other interview, and he's entered Unadilla. When did you send your entry in?
I sent it in exactly when I sent in my Southwick entry. So we're looking at over a month prior. So it will be over 2 months.
2 months in advance. They have not told him whether he is or isn't in the race. And it's in what, 3 weeks, 2 weeks?
Yeah.
And now I know you work as a rider coach too, right?
Yes, yeah, I do a lot of group training, rider training. And that's like I said, I have experience in it. I've been doing it a long time, and my main focus is ministry, and I'm actually going to be combining a lot of motocross training with ministry as well. So I'm excited to be doing some camps and stuff. Like I know some people from Motocross for Christ, and some people told me about I think it's like FCA camp, but I want to start doing that over here in the Northeast, and then offering camps. Christian motocross camps and
You,
and doing like 1 day events with it.
nice. Do you have any of the people who you're coaching racing Loretta Lynn's?
No, not that I know of right now. Because I honestly, Chris, I was doing it for fun, and I was like, all right, I want to do this for fun and put what I can into it, just because like my full time job was takes a lot of hours already, being the firehouse. So I was like, all right, I want to do this for fun and train guys. I really enjoy it. Like I enjoy following the circuit. I enjoy following the races. I enjoy helping people get better because I know it's like being in that position, and that's the fastest way to learn if you can learn from someone else who's already been there. Um, but then I was like, you know what? I can't like you know how it is. You only can juggle so much and you only have so much time. So I was like, all right, if I'm not at the firehouse, I want to be working on ministry and building that the ministry that God has entrusted me with and put a different perspective on. Like I said, really bring people into the church and ministry that wouldn't be brought in, you know, bringing in dirt bikes and bringing in some different types of music, some rock music and some rap music and you know, coming from a motocrosser approach to have kids and adults and people be willing to listen, have an open ear instead of you know, some of the more traditional ways where you see a suit and tie pastor on stage. Like I'm thinking something like Nitro Circus, but with church and motocross combined.
I absolutely love it. Where can people find this?
The easiest way right now to support is just to hopping on and going on my IG, my Instagram. It's just Matt Hammer _, or even going to hammerchurch.com. We're doing some updates on the website right now though, but so the best way to stay updated on everything is on Instagram, hammerchurch.com, or I'm sorry, Instagram Matt Hammer _, or to just follow on any of the socials. It's the same thing with TikTok and also on YouTube. I got a lot of my bigger projects on there. Oh, and the cool thing is, I got the Southwick video. My videographer Jared Berg, he's putting it together, so that'll be pretty cool. So I'm excited, and I actually use a few of the interviews that you gave me. So we're gonna tag your handle in there and everything else. It'll be like a cool, like you know how the riders are doing the vlog. We're making it a little more cinematic.
Dude,
It's gonna
that's
be like that.
awesome. I love it. I appreciate it. I thank you so much for your time. I don't know if you follow amateurs much. I know we'll have Washougal, then we got the, week off, and then we have the amateur national at Loretta's. I watch all that. I do some videos. If you're up for it, I'd love to have you come on and give some thoughts on some of the amateur riders.
Yeah, no, definitely. I do like to follow it. I like to see where our sport's trending. I like to see the guys coming up, and the level is just insane too. Like I said, you know, I've gone to these facilities. I've seen what they do. I've done what they've done, and now it's like the level and the bar is so high. It's it's difficult now if you don't have that background to go to one of these facilities to be a top professional racer. It's like they're getting started so young and they're training, they're on the program, they're riding with other riders, they're doing sections, they're doing sprints, they're doing motos. Like it's they're making a full-time job even before they you know, come of age to have that. So there's so much that goes behind the scenes to it. It's a cool watch to see Loretta Lynn's. I would like to go back one day maybe in the future, but we'll see. But
Yeah, I
yeah, are
thought
you gonna
about it.
go? Are you gonna go
Uh,
to watch?
no, I thought about it, but then with my relationship with MX Sports, I was like, man, there's probably going to be an incident, so maybe I should just steer clear of that one. If I really wanted to go, I would have went, but it's a lot of money, and I'm gonna go to Budds Creek instead.
Oh, are you? That's
Yep.
cool.
Yeah.
Is there any
So.
more nationals or just hitting Budds Creek?
Right now, just Budds Creek is on the schedule, and then I'll do SMX here in Vegas. And I was gonna do Charlotte, but it looks like I'll be in Thailand. There's a dude doing some sort of Mark Savage. He's doing a 24-hour endurance world record, and he's flying me over there to cover it. So I'm like, sure, I've never been to Thailand, might as well check it out. Yeah.
Huh.
So
That's an interesting race.
yeah. Yeah, well, like I said, I've never seen anything like it. He's an older guy. He had the world record in the Guinness book. Somebody beat it. Now he's 50 years old. He wants to get it back. I'm like, you know what? That's pretty cool. What the heck? If you want to fly me over, I'll come cover it.
Yeah, that'll be a fun trip. How long you gonna be out there for?
10 days, but I did tell him if I can't bring my buddy Jameson, I'm not coming because I don't know. That's pretty scary going over to Thailand with some dude I've never met. He seems cool, but like I don't really know him, so we'll see.
Yeah, yeah, I feel that. That
Okay.
sounds good, Chris. Well, thank you for having me on and everything else. I really appreciate it. It was fun.
Anytime, man. I really, really appreciate it. Thanks, Matt.
All right, take care, Chris.